Hello, students. Today's simple somatic yoga, you can see we're going to be standing. There's not too much we do in somatic yoga where we're standing, but I like bringing standing practices in because to me, a big part of feeling ourselves from our soma is what our sense of proprioception is. So, a short understanding, proprioception is your brain knowing where your body is in space. So it has to do with the movement of your joints. It even has to do with your skin moving. We've got proprioceptors all over our body, mainly in our feet and ankles, thus we're bipeds, but also along the spine. And they're always giving feedback to our brain because our brain wants to keep us upright. So balance is part of proprioception. And this is a great practice, whether or not you're balance challenged. I'll give you different ways to do it. But I do have to tell you that this was co-created with a student of mine, a young woman who is legally blind. So I found that I wanted to step into her shoes and see what it was like to find my way around without my sense of sight. So at some point during doing this, if you don't feel too challenged, I encourage you to close your eyes. But let's start by finding our feet, coming into a standing position. So just rock from left to right. I call this setting your east and west. And just feel, are you moving from your ankles, your knees, or your hips? And then stop at the point where you feel centered. And you can do this with your eyes closed. Feel yourself from your feet. And then we'll gently go front to back. You'll need to bend your knees slightly. Feel when your weight comes into your heels more, and through the arches and into the balls of the feet. And in somatic yoga, we try to place ourselves centered from east to west, but also front to back, north to south. We want to be over the arches of the feet. So find where you feel like you can rest over the arches and let those arches stay arches. The strength is in the heels and the balls of the feet. And we begin to find our breath. We're going to move through the right side first. So if you want to invoke the independent suspension of the lungs, you can breathe into your right lung. And notice as you do that how there's a little bit of a natural side bend. There's reaching through your right side as you breathe in, a little lateral bend. And we're going to add the arm to this. So as you breathe into your right lung, sweep your right arm across in a diagonal across the front of the body and up overhead. And breathe out and let it come down. So you can let your left arm relax. So you're moving from the upper body. Again, if this is easy, close your eyes. But get a sense of, even though your upper body's moving, notice how the weight transfers in your pelvis through your sacred sacrum, and into your left leg. You're going to feel that the top of the inhale, your weight is more distributed into your left leg, and then you come back to center both legs. There's a lot going on just to feed that information to your brain. So now as we start to feel the weight going into that left leg, you're going to step your right foot back. And you don't have to lift it up. In fact, it's nice to push the ball of the foot into the ground. It will give you more engagement through the back line, more stretch in the front line. So right leg and hand going in opposite directions in a diagonal. Exhale, come back. Feel yourself steadied at center. That center is always there for us. It's like you're reaching up on a shelf. And we come back down. And that's the other part with eyes open or closed. Let yourself follow the hand. Let your gaze follow your hand. See how that feels. I'll take one or two more on this right side. A nice side stretch too. Last one, you can breathe into the right lung. And exhale, come back. And pause for a moment and just feel your left and your right. So this is that body mapping part that your brain might sense that one side is different than the other because it's remapping it. It's finding it. Proprioceptively, it knows where that right side is now. And how does that feel? Does it feel longer, more available to you? And then begin to breathe into your left lung. Notice how just your breath will create that space in your respiratory muscles. And that space leads you into a little bit of a side bend to the right. You can exaggerate that. And then we'll add the arm sweeping. So left hand comes across like in an X position and up. And exhales back down. So imagine the buoyancy of your breath helping to lift your arm. So it's not just your arm, your whole torso moving. And as you reposition your shoulders, your pelvis responds. Your pelvis responds by putting more weight into your right leg. Might even feel like your right leg is shorter for a moment. And then back to both legs equal. Let your brain be fully aware of that. And then as we get that sense of the weight going into the right leg, I invite you to step your left foot back. Just a little step even. Just slide it back like your left heel is reaching to the back left. Your left hand is reaching to the front right. And exhale, they come back to the center. And so the timing of this is actually kept in your torso and in your pelvis. So letting, even though the proprioceptors may be in your spine and down in your feet, that's the trunk that has to respond. And you can follow your hand with your gaze if you'd like. One more. And then pause. Notice if anything's changed or what stayed the same. Feeling the way your feet are touching the ground. So this next part, Leela's reminding me over there, she's making some noise. This next part really becomes a bit of a dance move. So I do encourage you, especially if you're doing this in your classes, if you're a teacher, put on some fun music. It really does help people to enjoy this more. But we're now going to make this what we call a contralateral or a cross-body movement. So the idea meaning that if we drew a plumb line up the center of the body, the two sides are going in opposite directions. And that is really good to strengthen our sense of proprioception. So from the standing position, we'll start with the right arm again. And this time you really are real. It's like you're reaching up on a shelf. You're going to breathe in and reach your right arm up to the right now instead of across. You're like right and forward, and breathe out and come down. So you're going to notice the weight going into your right leg. You're reaching up on a shelf, raising your hand, and breathe out, come back to center. So how far does your pelvis have to shift to the right and back? And then the next part of this is as your weight goes into the right leg, you're going to take your left leg back. So right hand, left leg going in opposite directions. We'll just do that for a few moments, coming back to the center on the exhale. So in that cross-body pattern, the right shoulder works with the left hip. That's why we crawl before we walk. And when we walk, if I can demonstrate, we don't walk like this. Maybe we do. But we walk left leg, right arm, right? So this is that same concept. And start to watch it. And then we add the second part. We want to come across the midline for a true contralateral movement. So you're going to inhale, reach. And then now as you exhale, take your right hand to the left hip and your left foot to the right. So you can cross your legs even. Inhale, reach. Here's the dance move. Opposite directions. Exhale, cross. There's your dance move. And this is where you can really challenge yourself by changing your gaze. That could be eyes opened or closed. So I'm going to do a few watching the hand all the way through from going up to going down. Making sure you feel steady though. You could also do it with your eyes closed and let just your head turn. Move from your skull. But then see if instead of, that's a challenge for me, see if instead of watching your hand, you could watch your foot. So look back at your left heel like you've got a piece of gum stuck on your shoe. You want to see that gum? And then look at your foot as it comes forward. So switch. As soon as it becomes really easy and you don't have to think about it, change something. So your brain stays on board. It's not bored. It wants to learn. And it can learn at any age. All right, last one. Come to the center. Sometimes that stabilizing leg says, I've had enough. Pause and just feel. You can do your east, west, north, south. Do you feel centered? Or do you feel a little off center now? You may. That's your body mapping. It's like your body map has to reset your GPS before you start the next one. And then we'll feel our left arm. And as you breathe in, raise your left arm up and out to the left. And breathe out, just let it come down. So it might feel like an arm movement, but it's really the torso. Give your whole shoulder girdle. And as your shoulder girdle goes to the right or to the left, you feel your weight go into your left hip and leg. And I'm sure we'll do this plenty of other times today without any knowledge of it, but to feel that transfer of weight into your left leg. And then we add the right leg stepping back. So now as you're reaching through your left arm, weight goes into the left leg and you can step your right leg back, opposite direction. So this big X reaching. And exhale, just come back first to your center, to your safe space, equal weight in both legs. Reach and release. And see what your gaze wants to do. You could watch your hand. You could watch your foot. And we add the second part, so that cross body. So now as you exhale, instead of coming back to that center, you're going to inhale, reach in opposite directions. Exhale, take the left hand across the center line of the body to the right, and the right foot across the center line of the body to the left. Sometimes it's easier for me to do than say. Inhale, reach. Exhale, cross. Usually it's easier at first to follow your hand with your gaze. Really need some disco music here. Pump up the beat. And then you could change your gaze. So instead of looking at the hand, try looking at your foot. Look at your calf, your toes. Whoop. Eyes opened or closed. Okay, last one. And then get ready, because we're going to put it all together into a whole dance move. So center yourself again, ears over the shoulders, shoulders over your hips. Feel yourself from arches of the feet. That's where you balance. And we're going to do that same contralateral movement, but we're going to switch and do alternating. So breathing in, let's take our right arm up and left leg back. As you breathe out, cross left and right. And then I breathe in, uncross. Breathe out, just take a breath, feel stable at your center. And then breathe in, left arm reaches right leg, opposite direction. Exhale, cross them. Inhale, come back to your center. Exhale, let your roots just dig deep into the ground, and alternating sides. So I'm doing it to my breath. Going slow. But if you're feeling a little feisty, and depending on the music you have on, remember your gaze can change too, you could challenge yourself by going a little faster. Make sure it's beneficial though. And that fullness of being fully aware. Sometimes it's like rubbing the belly and patting the head. But letting your brain feel where your joints are in space. And Me talking doesn't help me any because I forget what I'm doing. Take one or two more. Change your gaze, close your eyes, and pause. So you may be used to doing yoga with a lot of balance poses, and I adore balance poses. I think they're really important. But I think the mistake we make in yoga is that we always do balance poses in complete stillness, which that's not the reality of life, right? If we are going to slip and our proprioception has to save us, it's because we're moving. So I'll encourage you when you're doing balance poses in a yoga class. So let's take a tree pose, for instance. Instead of finding that steadiness of your drishti and falling deep into the stillness, be a tree in the wind. Give your proprioception something to think about. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. Peace, joy, love, and light.